You are watching Big 12 baseball on ESPN. Happy Tuesday. Perfect conditions here at Miller Park in Provo, Utah for a crosstown clash. BYU and Utah Valley separated by about 5 red lights and 3 miles. Gary, if you hit those, you get right back and forth from each other in no time. And tonight we're together for baseball.
Absolutely. You know, and these teams, both these teams want to win. They're rivalries, and they've got bragging rights coming up, so this should be a good ball game.
We're going to see the best home run hitter that Utah Valley has ever seen in a single season. Hunter Katschke's got 21, looking to build on that tonight.
Well, he came through in the clutch in Game 2 of the series against Abilene Christian by hitting his team-leading 21st home run the top of the 9th inning. The 3-run shot broke up a 2-2 tie and led to UVU's only win of the series.
For BYU, Crew McChesney is batting out in left field. Missed some time with a hamstring. Boy, is Trent Pratt happy to have him in the lineup.
Well, he sure is. And he had a great series against Texas Tech. You see this home run here, and he was the only Cougar to hit safely in all 3 games. Batted .500 with 3 singles, 2 doubles, a home run, and 5 runs batted in.
There he is. And coming up, it's the 61st meeting between BYU and Utah Valley. We'll toss out the first pitch next here on ESPN. Sunny and 94 at this rate. All that snow will be gone by the 3rd inning. Here are the keys to tonight's game, Gary.
Well, for UVU, they need some middle inning success. UVU did not score a run in the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings of the 3 games played against Abilene Christian. And better pitching. UVA pitchers gave up 28 runs in the 3-game series. For BYU, patience at the plate. BYU hitters earned 7 walks in Saturday's game. And better pitching. BYU's pitchers gave up 20 runs and 29 hits in the Texas Tech series.
Here's the batting order for the Wolverines that come in 16 and 24, 2 and 13 in the WAC. Katschke to lead it off, Block, Carpenter, Beck strong. Derek Houston comes in with a hot bat over the weekend against Abilene Christian, one of his best outings of the year. And the Wolverines have dropped 16 of their last 17, so they'll look to jump on Blade Paragas for BYU, a freshman out of Makaha, Hawaii. Fastball near 97. Curve, slider, cutter, and a change. 2 starts on the season. We're going to see a handful of pitchers, as has been the trend on a midweek game. There's Trent Pratt. He's got 14th ranked Kansas coming in later in the week in a big series to wrap up the Big 12 regular season. Across the way, Nate Rasmussen in his second season at Utah Valley. They were in the big dance last year, went to Oregon, knocked off the Ducks in Eugene, picked up a boatload of momentum, but they have been nailed by injuries, and that's then the storyline for Utah Valley here in 2026. Hunter Katchke, a 6'3" senior out of Las Vegas, will lead it off for the Wolverines. And a lot of hot sunshine with just home plate in the shadows so far tonight. And the defense for the Cougars, McChesney is in left, Wolfgram in center, Herdsman out in right, Jones at third, Robinson at short, Anderson's at second base, Ezra McNaughton at first base, Parker Goff behind the plate doing the work. And a foul ball by Katchke, and the count's 0-2. This is the #1 home run hitter for Utah Valley. He's got 21, among the best in the WAC and among the best in the country. Hit a 3-run home run in the 9th inning last weekend to beat Abilene Christian 5-3. But the Wolverines season will end later this week, and a blooper will bounce in front of Herdsman. It's a leadoff single for Katchke. And there's one on.
Well, Herdsman was playing fairly deep for the long ball hitting Katchke, and that just went right off the end of the bat. It was a good curveball on the outside part of the plate. Just got the very end of the bat on there, and you see the depth that Herdsman's playing. Could not get to that little bloop.
Brody Block from Visalia, California, senior, steps up, hitting .250 on the year with 3 home runs. Earlier in the meeting in Orem between BYU and Utah Valley, the Cougars won it 10-5. In that game, Block went 0 for 5. He looks at ball 1. We'll talk about Utah Valley and the injuries that have torpedoed their season. They're losing 10 starters, including their entire starting pitching rotation. And that's how the defending champs in the WAC can go from there to not qualifying for the conference tournament. 7 teams are in the WAC, 6 teams go to the postseason, and Utah Valley will not be one of them, so they'll play out the season later this weekend up in Orem. BYU's got Big 12 tournament play in store next week. Foul ball down the left field line. The count's 2-1.
Brody Block went 0 for 3 in each of the games against Abilene Christian recently in that series.
Katchke's over at first. 2-1 count. Ball 3. The Cougars dropped 2 of 3 games at Texas Tech last weekend. They had to have 1 win to clinch a playoff spot, and they got that on Friday night in a 12-3 decision. And also in the Lone Star State, Utah Valley dropped 2 of 3 at Abilene Christian, and that eliminated the Wolverines from any chance of getting into the WAC tournament. Full count now for Brody Block.
That was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that time from Blade, right on the outside corner.
Paragas will look over at Katchke. Double play opportunity. Robinson going to have to take it himself and then flip it over in time. And there's 2 down. You see the elusiveness of Ryder Robinson at shortstop.
Well, that's how you beat the shift right there. With, you see Robinson was way on the second base side over there, and where he fields his ball, he looks over there. There's nobody there. He says, I better go do it myself. So he looks over there. Watch the pivot that he does right here. He gets the ball, runs to the base, and as he touches the base, he's throwing. So very good release, very good play.
2 down for Caden Carpenter. And Paragas comes in with a strike at 95 miles an hour. Carpenter, a senior out of American Fork, spent 3 seasons at Utah and then transferred over, redid his swing completely. He's got 13 home runs this year. In 3 years at Utah, he had 13 home runs total. So the adjustments to the swing have changed his game. He's hitting .323 on the year.
Well, he played for Jared Ingersoll over there at American Fork High School, a great coach that's brought many players from his teams over here to BYU and UVU.
Foul ball. The count's 1-2.
And Carpenter helped lead American Fork to 2 state championships. He was All-State 3 times. Just a great high school player, and he might have a chance, as we're talking to the SID, to maybe get drafted somewhere this season.
6'4", 225 pounds. Leads the team in doubles, runs batted in, and walks for a very patient hitter. 2-2 the count.
Well, that was close. You had a number of BYU players kind of walking towards the dugout.
That's always a sign you're not going to get the call, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
If they went the other direction, amazing how many calls they would probably get. Here's one deep into the afternoon, and we talked about his home run swing. He's got 14 on the season, and Utah Valley strikes first. A towering blast from Caden Carpenter.
Well, that was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and that ball, as soon as it was hit, you knew it was gone. The center fielder for BYU, Wolfgram and Hergman, they took a few steps, but that thing was way out of here. 388 into right center, and that was well over 400 foot.
1-0 Utah Valley with Chipper Beck. As we take another look at that swing from the shadows into the light and then into the trees, and a 1-0 lead. Chipper Beck, the former Cougar, at the plate. He takes a strike. 2024 and 2025, played 40 games at BYU and a couple of home runs, hitting .357 coming into tonight's game. That's best on the Wolverine roster. And he hits this one into left field. A 2-out single for Chipper Beck.
And that ball was just kind of right at belt high, right down the middle of the plate. And Beck just turns on it. That's a good strikeout, good hit. But you go back to the previous batter, Caden Carpenter. He had a 1-2 count, a pitch right on the inside part of the plate. That could have been called a strike, but it's called the ball. Then the next pitch is out of here. So big difference in one little call early in this game.
Here's Mason Strong. He played 12 games at BYU before transferring to Oklahoma, a couple of years with the Sooners. And then over to Utah Valley, first team All-WAC. WAC tourney all-tournament most outstanding player last year. Hitting .286. Not the same year for Strong as he had in 2025. It counts 2-0. And now Paragas has found some trouble. This game doesn't count in the Big 12 standings. It doesn't count in the WAC standings. But this game means a lot to Utah Valley as their season, as mentioned, will end on Saturday. BYU will play on. But for a season where they've done nothing but take lumps, a chance for something positive tonight. And we'll visit with Nate Rasmussen a bit later on and talk about their plan as they move to the Big West Conference in July and get a whole new slew of opponents. 3-0 to Mason Strong.
Mason Strong, when he was at BYU, he played in 12 games, started 8, and he hit .281 with 9 hits and 32 plate finishes. And he also was a WCC Player of the Week. So he had some good games at BYU.
Gets hit and heads to first base with a bruise. Chipper Beck goes over to second. And Paragas now in deep struggles with Derek Houston coming to the plate.
Well, this is a ball that didn't break. It was a fastball, 95 miles an hour. Not much Mason Strong could do to get out of the way of that one.
So 2 former Cougars on the bags, and here's a return missionary, Derek Houston, at the plate, hitting .309. Had a double against the Cougars in the first meeting. Served his mission to Liberia, Africa. Lee looks at ball 1.
Well, that's 5 pitches in a row for Paragas, not even very close to the plate.
Activity down in the bullpen for BYU. This one to center field. Wolfgram moves over onto the warning track and just shy of the wall makes the catch. Derek Houston just about got it out of here. Instead, it's just a long out. The Wolverines leave two, but they get one on a towering home run by Caden Carpenter. That's number 14 on the year for the senior out of American Fork. Cougars coming to the plate as we roll on this Tuesday here on ESPN. Bottom of the first inning here in Provo, 1-0 Utah Valley. Here come the Cougars. It'll be Herdsman, Anderson, McNaughton. McNaughton, the home run leader on the squad with 14. Robinson, Jones, McChesney, Wolfgram, Hanson, and Goff. Plenty of home runs. Scary Saturday in the loss at Texas Tech, but they're all bombs. Not a lot of singles.
Yeah, well, you know, McNaughton there, you look at that season average there, Dave. He leads the Cougars in almost every category.
He'll be fun to watch tonight. Here's Trey Jacobson out of Cedar City, Utah, 6'5". Missed 7 weeks of the season with a strained shoulder. Came back last week, pitched an inning against Utah. So he's getting the start tonight. Just 8 2/3 innings all year, which is indicative of how the health of the pitching staff for Utah Valley's gone. But he can throw it at 91 miles an hour. It has a sweeper and a change. That sweeper is a very challenging pitch to hit. It looks like a slider and then does something funny, and Nate Rasmussen says, you know, it can just be very confusing for the hitter to see that coming. So that's what he throws. And another Utah Beehive State product with a chance to play here at Miller Park tonight. He's got a 1-0 lead. Another Utah kid, Bryker Herdsman, a senior out of St. George, will lead it off. And that's ball one off the plate. Defensively for the Wolverines, Houston's in left, Carpenter's in center, Brock's in right, Trenton Rowan at third, Beck's at short, Mason Hamlin is at second base, Joseph Barnhart's at first. Strong behind the plate, catching for Jacobson. 1-1 the count to Herdsman, who's hitting .288. A couple of home runs Friday night in that 12-3 win at Texas Tech, which put BYU into the Big 12 tournament. Fouls it back 1-2.
Well, we've seen 3 fastballs so far from Jacobson, and they've all been at 95 miles an hour, so he can bring it.
Let's see if he throws that sweeper here with a 1-2 count. There it is, strike 3. 1 down.
Well, that was a sharp breaking ball, too. That ball looked like it was coming at the head of Herdsman, and it just broke down and away. Well, just a beautiful pitch right there by Jacobson. Look at the break on that ball.
Right across the plate. Here comes Luke Anderson, hitting .278 on the year with 5 home runs. A couple of triples, 13 doubles, and 28 runs batted in. Anderson from Santa Clara, Utah, went to Snow Canyon High School. A strike is in there. 0-1.
Yeah, so far Jacobson is just pounding the zone, 95 miles an hour, working inside, outside, up and down, and has that beautiful sweeper or curveball.
One and one to count. The last of 4 games for Anderson here at Miller Park. been a producer since 2023 and an outstanding second baseman. 1-2 the count.
Yeah, it's sure been fun watching Luke Anderson through the years. Out of Santa Clara there was, since he came in, he was the Utah Gatorade Player of the Year, and he's just done some super things for BYU.
Here's a base hit into right field for Anderson. Waited on that sweeper. Now he's thinking about two. Takes a big turn and heads back to first.
Well, they had to shift on that time for Anderson, and the second baseman was on the shortstop side of the bag, so Anderson just poked it right where he wasn't. Gets through there. He's thinking about second all the way, but you saw Block charged it and got it in a hurry.
Anderson at first. Ezra McNaughton steps into the box, hitting .346. 14 home runs, 14 doubles, 48 runs batted in. 5'11" sophomore out of Mesa, Arizona. Flashes bunt and backs out of it. Well, just 32 strikeouts for McNaughton. When you consider power hitters, they're usually high in home runs and they're high in strikeouts, but not McNaughton.
Well, you look at that bluffed bunt. There's no third baseman. There's nobody on the left side of the second base bag. So if he put it down over on that side, it'd be a sure hit.
Throw over to first.
And what they've done, Utah Valley's gone with 4 outfielders. It's almost like a slow pitch softball team where you get 4 outfielders out there and no third baseman. So that's why McNaughton looked at over there at the left side of the field. If he says, if I bunt here, it's a base hit.
Ball 2, he's a good opposite field hitter, just like his dad and his uncle.
Oh, he sure is. And I haven't seen this year. Have you, Dave? You recall seeing a 4 outfield defense coming up? And you got the second baseman is like a rover out there.
This is creative. McNaughton says, I'll see your shift and knock it off the scoreboard. A 2-run home run, number 15 on the year.
Well, you can put as many people you want on that outfield, but when Naughton connects it, I mean, it is gone. And there he beats the shift and gets BYU ahead here. And that is the team-leading 15th home run for McNaughton, and that was crushed.
Bounced right off the board. Let's watch it go. Jacobson serves it up down the middle, right in the wheelhouse of McNaughton. And then we watched it bounce off the scoreboard.
Well, from a bunt,
there it is.
Fake bunt to over the scoreboard. That's quite an upgrade.
There's Ryder Robinson hitting .310 on the year. He's got 9 home runs. And the shift is still on, just not as dramatic.
Yeah, they don't have the 4 outfielders, but the third baseman is very close to the shortstop position there. Nobody on the left side.
Ball 1 to Robinson. That one's inside. Robinson out of Cedar Hills, Utah. Outstanding shortstop. We saw him turn a double play all by himself in that first inning. 2-0. Low, ball 3. Well, Paragas looked sharp in the first couple of batters, and then the wheels came off. And Jacobson striking out Herdsman and then giving up a single and then a 2-run home run and walks Robinson on 4 pitches.
Well, Robinson was taken all the way on that one. It was a low inside pitch. And 3 in a row batters for BYU. And it doesn't get any easier with Easton Jones coming up here.
Mason Strong out to offer some comfort to Jacobson. Again, he hasn't been out there a whole lot this year. There's Trent Pratt, 114 wins in his 5th season. 3rd year in the Big 12, second Big 12 tournament appearance. That will be either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how the weekend plays out, with BYU and Kansas, Utah and Baylor, and a couple other teams in action as we head down the home stretch in the Big 12 starting Thursday night. Easton Jones, 6'3" senior out of American Fork, looks at ball 1. Lots of Utah kids on display here tonight.
Well, that was a great play by Mason Strong. That outside curveball way past the batter's box on the right side, makes a nice backhanded scoop.
Jones with 11 home runs. At one point he was tied up with McNaughton. Bounces a base hit into left field. Robinson turns the corner. He's heading to third. Slides in safely. And over to second goes Jones.
Well, it's fun to watch Robinson run, boy. He really can turn those bases. And I didn't believe he was going to go from second to third on that. Wasn't that deep of a hit, but he just really turned on the extra juices there. And watch this. It was a good throw, a good charge, and a great slide. And then Jones is smart enough to take the extra base.
So they're at second and third with one out for Crew McChesney. And now a defensive shift. Trenton Rowan is going to go over to first base, and Barnhart's going to go over to third.
Well, that's another thing you don't see very often there, where the first and third baseman just switch gloves and switch positions. And the infield is in already for Utah Valley.
McChesney hitting .326. Pops it up and foul in the first offering. 8 home runs, couple of triples. Pulled his hamstring on March 28th and missed a lot of time. But now back and kind of getting into the groove. Had a 3-run home run on Saturday at Texas Tech.
Yeah, he batted .500 in that series, going 6 for 12.
Full cut there, and he's down in the count 0-2.
And since he's come back from that hamstring injury, he's raised his batting average to .326, which is second on the team.
And he's been going about 80%. He's out in left field, typically the center fielder where there's more running. So they put him out in left and have just tried to keep him, you know, at a pace where he can't go out there and re-aggravate it. He gets hit by the pitch and will head to first base. The worst thing, the only thing worse than a hamstring pull is coming back and pulling it again.
Yeah, right there you can just see brushes off of his thigh. And it was a curveball that broke a little bit too much, and now the bases are loaded with one out.
Tua Wolfgram from Pleasant Grove, hitting .252. Went 1 for 5 against the Wolverines with a couple of runs batted in that 10-5 victory earlier. And the pitching coach Kyle Treadway is out to talk with Jacobson. He struck out Riker Hertzman, and then he's run into trouble since. Over at third is Robinson, who drew a walk. Easton Jones is at second, had a single. McChesney got hit by a pitch. And then before the three of them, Ezra McNaughton hit a 2-run shot off the scoreboard.
Well, there's nobody warming up in the pen.
A little bit of activity now as a couple bodies get up.
They're moving, they're stretching, but they're not throwing yet. So you're going to get a chance for Coach Treadway to see if he can work his way out of this inning.
Cohen Bach is the first to start throwing, as we see Jacobson in a jam, and let's see if he can wiggle out of it. Wolfgram at .252 on the year with 3 home runs. BYU has not hit a grand slam this season, and the bases are loaded here in the first inning. Ball 1.
Yeah, Wolfgram's got really good speed. He's hard to double up, but UVU's in double play depth. First base is up, second, third base is back, and they're hoping Wolfgram can hit it to one of the shortstop or second baseman here.
Outside, 2-0.
But Wolfgram's going to be patient here, 2-0. Would be surprised if he swings at this one. He might take this one and, with the bases loaded, make Jacobson throw a strike.
Hits it a mile high, and Chipper Beck, who's comfortable at that shortstop spot here at Miller Park, makes the catch. That's exactly what Jacobson was hoping for. Now there's 2 down.
Yeah, 2-0 count, and Wolfgram goes after it, and he just pops it up to an infield fly, so he's automatically out. And second out of the inning.
Matt Hansen comes to the plate. Hansen hit 2 home runs last Friday night at Texas Tech. Give him 3 on the year. Sophomore from Colorado Springs. A chance to do some real damage here in the first inning. 2 down with the bases loaded. Outside for ball 1. Strike. There you see the shadows and the sunshine fighting each other in the middle of the infield between the pitcher and the catcher. Hansen to right field. He got a lot of it. It is way back, and it is foul ball. Just missed a grand slam. Now, Hansen's pretty sure that was fair, but our first base umpire, Brandon Riley, was watching it go down the line and said it was foul, and Trent Bratt wants to take a look at it. Jeff Clough's our home plate umpire. Riley's at first, Dax Upton is at second, and Travis Roberts is at third base. That one was tremendously close, right down the line.
Don't worry, Matt. Matt, don't worry. We all saw
Well,
that.
what happened, it was so far over the foul pole. So if it's, you know, even with the foul pole, you know, just to the left or right of it, you can tell, but that was so far above it. It was hit so hard. Where did it leave the park at is the question.
They're going to take a look at it. So while they go inside to look, we'll see if we can tell. It's always hard to overturn a foul ball unless it's totally obvious. Nothing can't tell from that angle. Let's see if this one helps. Hansen got all of it, was convinced that was gone.
Yeah, that is so hard to tell because you can't see the ball, and that's the difference between a grand slam and just a long strike, and it was that close to being a home run. So they're going to look at it, but I don't think there's going to be enough evidence to overturn that, and it's just going to be a foul ball.
They have a couple of different angles, we are told, but we've never seen them, but we're told they have a couple of different angles. Here's another look, and it's going to go into the bushes on the right side.
But where did it leave the park? You know, that's the question.
And yeah, and did it go over that on the curve into the bushes?
Right, and if
all debatable.
If it hits the foul pole or goes over at the foul pole, that's a home run.
Yeah.
So it's just so hard to tell. First base umpire had the best view of it down there, and his view that it was foul, and there's just no way that they're going to overlook that unless they've got some camera out there in the trees in right field.
They're taking a long time looking at it. We'd be stunned if they call this a grand slam. Now they're back out. And Jeff Clough is going to foul ball.
Yeah, there's not enough evidence to overturn it.
Hansen will say, if you take my word for it, that's a grand slam.
Yeah.
From his vantage point in the batter's box. But further down the line was Brandon Riley, and he called it foul.
Well, Hansen dropped the bat. He was halfway down to first. He dropped the bat because he thought it was a home run. And then when he heard foul, he looked back to the home plate umpire, and the umpire said, I didn't call it. It's the first baseman's call.
1-2. Hansen into left. Robinson scores. Jones is coming in. So instead of a grand slam, it's a 2-run single for Matt Hansen, and it's 3-1 BYU.
Boy, that was a
4-1.
That was a pitch on the outside part of the plate, down low, and you can see Hansen just gets the end of the bat on the ball, and it's slicing. Once it hits the ground, it takes a big hop over to the left, but that just enough to get 2 runs in instead of 4 runs in. So he's probably got to be happy with that, but he missed that grand slam by a matter of I don't know, a foot or 2.
Now Parker Goff, the catcher, out of Harriman, Utah, hitting .211 on the season. He hit a home run Saturday at Texas Tech. McChesney leading off at second base. And ball 1 from Trey Jacobson.
Well, Jacobson has just had trouble finding the strike zone. You know, he started out with the first couple batters, he was in there, and then since, he's just got behind on the hitters.
Ball 2. Herdsman, the leadoff hitter is on deck. He'd like a second shot at Jacobson. He started the game with a strikeout. Two and 0. Now 2-1. That at 90 miles an hour. Four to 1 BYU here in the first inning. Inside and high for ball 3. Kansas in town Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll have it for you right here. First pitch Thursday, 8 Eastern, 6 local time. Jayhawks have work to do to win the Big 12 championship regular season title, and BYU is trying to find the avenue to a first-round bye. Rowan touches third base rather, the former first baseman. And that is the inning, but not before BYU strikes for 4 runs, including 2 off the shot from Ezra McNaughton. Home run number 15 for the sophomore out of Mesa, Arizona. Four straight in the series. The 2 head coaches, a Bingham minor with Nate Rasmussen and Trent Pratt out of Tooele. 4-1 BYU, and Trenton Rowan leading it off for the Wolverines, hitting .218. He's a 6'3" redshirt junior out of Erie, Colorado. Ball 1. Paragas getting a second inning of work thanks to some help from his offense. Sky high. Robinson, the quarterback of the infield, makes a catch. 1 down.
Well, that ball was hit way up in the air there. You could see Robinson got underneath there and seemed like he waited for 5 seconds for that ball to come down.
You'd think the higher it goes, it just gives a defender more time to just wait for it and come down. But during that time, there's a lot of anxiety.
Well, there is.
Right, and then all of a sudden the wind gets involved. There's the sun.
Absolutely.
And we see drops here and there. Joseph Barnhart goes too far on the swing for strike 1. He's a senior out of Stockton, California. Hitting 150, hit his first home run of the year last week against Utah. That was so wild it bounced right back to Parker Goff.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing here. If you got a runner on third and you see a wild pitch like that, you got to make sure that it stays back there, doesn't come back to the catcher, just like we just saw.
Outside, 2-1.
Last year, Barnhart played in 24 games, started 18. He finished the season hitting .243 with 18 hits and had a home run at San Jose State.
3-1. BYU picked 13th in the Big 12, currently in 8th place. The Utah Valley picked 2nd in the WAC, and they are in 7th place out of 7 teams and are out of the mix for the conference tournament. 3-1. And Barnhart fouls it away. The count goes full. You know, BYU's trending in the right direction in that 3rd year in the Big 12. More overall wins, more Big 12 wins, more Big 12 series wins than in the previous 2 years. There's strike 3. Nice bender by Paragas. 2 down.
Yeah, that was that kind of surprised Barnhart there. That looked like it was going to be inside, and then it had a sharp late break. You look at this location right there.
A little low, but
well, so yeah, it's where it crosses the plate. So it crosses the plate just about knee high, and Barnhart ring him up.
Mason Hamlin at the plate. First pitch, pops it up. That drifts into the crowd. Who's going to get it? No one. There, I saw a lot of willing participants there right until that ball came down, Gary.
You know, there was 2 people standing and the rest of them were sitting. You know, if you want to get a fly ball, you got to stand up to get that, and try to use 2 hands if you can. And that was not a good play by the fans.
That's the first error of the game.
Yeah.
0-1. Paragas gets the corner. Pitching much better here in the 2nd inning. 0-2.
Well, the bullpen for BYU kind of sat down after he got under control here.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Utah Valley goes 1-2-3. It'll be Herdsman, Anderson, and McNaughton coming up for BYU. McNaughton already with a home run off the scoreboard. What will he do in his 2nd at bat? We'll find out. Much better inning for Paragas. 4-1 BYU.
These days, there's so much to do and not enough time, even for the things that matter most. Well, at Deseret Book, we want to give you resources that help make the most of your time. That's why Deseret Bookshelf Plus gives you unlimited access to Deseret Book's entire audiobook library. So you can listen to Insights from a Prophet's Life while you cook, The Second Coming of the Lord while you drive. You can even get Come Follow Me insights while you exercise, ensuring that you always have time for what matters most.
My dad was a Major League All-Star. His dad was a World Series champion. I would walk out and see all this family history stuff and who we are.
I was pretty much aware that he doubted how good he could be.
What are you going to do to control what you can control? You get to decide your destiny. You get to decide your timeline and what your future looks like.
Everything we do at BYU begins and ends with our students in mind. The most important work we do is building our students spiritually and intellectually. Strengthening each student's faith and testimony in Jesus Christ has always been a part of BYU's mission. You've entered to learn. Now go forth to serve.
Dave McCann, Gary Scheide here in Provo, Utah. 90 degrees and hot. It's like summer showed up. Bottom of the second inning, BYU leads it 4-1, and there's a new pitcher for the Wolverines, Cohen Bach, a freshman out of Phoenix. 16 strikeouts to 6 walks. 19 1/3 innings of work here this season.
Well, he's used to heat. I mean, you grow up in that Phoenix area, and you're going to see it's about 100. I don't know what it is today, 105, 110, but yeah, he's used to the heat.
If it's 94 here, then you go Vegas has got to be smoking, and then Phoenix right there along with them. But this is a perfect night for baseball. It'll cool off into the 80s. The lights are on. Eventually the sun will surrender, and we'll have a perfect evening.
Well, you can see the crowd. There's a great crowd tonight on a Tuesday night. It's a rivalry team and a good crowd.
And we're running out of nights. 3 more after tonight, all this week here at Miller Park. We're in the 70s for the Kansas series starting on Thursday. We'll get some thoughts from Trent Pratt on that when we join him from the dugout coming up in just a bit. Here's Bryker Herdsman. He struck out his first time up. He'll be the first Cougar to face Cohen Bach. And he looks at a strike. Misses the corner. 1-1. When you miss your rotation, you lose them to injury. That's the 3 guys that were going to be your Friday, Saturday, Sunday guys. So then you go to the other 3 guys who were going to be out of the bullpen. And they're in the bullpen for a reason. And then there's the 3 guys that got to back up those guys. And that's where you can find yourself losing 16 of 17 games.
Absolutely, yeah. You lose your starters like that, and when you're going with second string and like you explained right there, it makes a huge difference. And you know, they've had games this year where they could have won, but their pitching just didn't get it done.
1-2. Now 2-2. There were games at 24 of them, I think it was, in visiting with Nate Rasmussen, where they had the lead and couldn't hold it.
Yeah, well, a big difference there.
Ball 3 from Bach, and the count is full for Herdsman.
Well, we've seen Bach throw at 91 miles an hour that time.
Herdsman to right field, and that hangs up enough for Brody Brock to chase down. And there's 1 out.
Well, you can't hit it much harder than that. Herdsman hit it right on the nose, but Brody Brock got a good break on this ball. It looked like it was going to drop in there, but he got a good break, got to the ball fairly easily, and comes up with the first out of the inning.
Well, after tonight, it's a long, hot summer for BYU and Utah Valley. The next time they'll face each other in a sporting event will be women's soccer on August 31st with the Cougars up in Orem. Strike 1 from Luke Anderson with the full swing. He singled his first time up.
That's a long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of fishing for you in between.
Oh man, a lot of fishing. I look at the bios of these players, and when I see somebody that his favorite thing to do is go fishing and golfing, I thought, wow, that guy'd be my friend.
0-2. Good look at the mountainside. The snow that was up there to start the week has been long gone. A hot day like today in the 90s can wipe out a lot of snow.
Sure can. And here's a guy, here's number 11, Luke Anderson. He's worn that number since he began playing baseball at age 7. So we've really come to enjoy number 11 through the years.
Outside 2-2. 6 home runs his rookie season. Then he had 6 as a sophomore, 9 as a junior. Sitting on 5 here in his senior year. A lot of doubles and runs batted in. Ball 3. Full count for Anderson.
Well, in the first inning, Riker Herdsman made an out, and then the next 8 batters for BYU seemed to get on base with home runs and big hits and got 4 runs after that with 1 out.
Fouled into the screen. There's Trent Pratt's view down there in the third base box. Compare some of the stats. Home runs, BYU leads 72-66 between these two. Here's Anderson to right. And that's on the warning track for Brock, and there's 2 down.
Well, they're playing Pepper with Brody Block this inning. Shot by Herdsman, and that one went to the warning track out there about 380 feet away.
Let's see, comparing the hits, BYU has got 499, and they've got the advantage there. Utah Valley with 459. But runs, the Wolverines have more runs than BYU, despite the roller coaster ride of a season. 335, the Cougars with 322. McNaughton knocked in 2 runs with a shot off the scoreboard his first time up, and he's back.
Well, we got the 4 outfielders again. Nobody on the left side of second base, but McNaughton knows how to beat that shift. He just hits it out of the ballpark.
There you see the configuration. Ball 2. One thing you'll notice with McNaughton is rarely does he swing at bad pitches. And we talked about it earlier. His power numbers are through the roof. His strikeouts, just 32 on the entire year. He's got 18 walks. He looks at a strike there. It's 2-1.
Well, it's quite tempting if you look at McNaughton and say, man, I just bunt it down the third base side. There's nobody over there. Get a base hit. But he wants to hit it, you know, so there's nobody there.
2-1 to count. Now it's 2-2. That one he really liked.
Well, he almost swung out of his helmet right there. That ball was up in his zone a little bit, and McNaughton really took a mighty swing after that one. 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
2-2 the count with 2 outs here in the second. Fouls it away, and he'll get another pitch to analyze and take a whack at. Las Vegas, Nevada is where he served his 2-year church mission, and went out on his mission right out of high school, and then in the batting cage the day he arrived home, and he's been hitting ever since. Outside. Hit 135 last year as a pinch hitter for the most part. But now getting regular time. He started every game this season, and he's up to 346, probably 350 after that home run that he hit a moment ago. Just a phenomenal season. Ball 4, and there's the 19th walk of the year for McNaughton.
Very good patience at the plate there. You know, he got even with the count, took a close one, and that one, it just, you know, his job is to get on base, and that's what he does so well. He just leads the Cougars in so many categories, and just a great leader out there for BYU.
Ryder Robinson, he drew a walk his first time up, then came around to score. McNaughton leading off at first. They're not even holding him, so he takes off. Here's the throw. Still no call, and now the safe signal comes out. Strong firing down to Beck, one former Cougar to the other. And then the ball got kicked out of Beck's glove. And Nate Rasmussen's out to talk about it. It looks like he's out there, Gary, and then out pops the ball.
Yep, it did. He slid right into the foot. The foot goes right into the mitt there, and there goes the ball.
So McNaughton is safe at second, and Robinson has a 1-0 count. They'll shift again. Ezra looks around to see if anyone will hold him here. If not, he may take off to third base. Chipper Beck staying somewhat close to the bag. You see number 35 leading off. And Bach throws ball 2. And it's 2-0. Robinson with 31 runs batted in. Inside. Easton Jones lurking on deck for BYU. Left field. Houston's out there, makes the catch. Ezra McNaughton stranded on the bags. No new damage for UVU. We head to the third. Katchke, he's got a big home run swing. We'll see him next.
Welcome to Squeeze Play. All the highlights, all the big moments.
You got a chance to have some big-time fireworks.
6 to 8 games on the screen at one time.
You're going to be locked in for that.
The season on the line.
Hashtag Squeeze Play. Send us some tweets. Maybe we'll put you on the social wall.
The storybook season will continue.
Thursday night, join Matt Schick and Mike Rooney for the Squeeze Play. They'll show all the final series throughout the country before conference tournament play begins. And that'll include our game, BYU and Kansas. Gary, are we mentally prepared for that, to be part of that?
You know, it's going to be interesting because you look at Kansas, it's hard to figure them out. I mean, they were, number 13 or 12 in the country, and they lost 3 games in a row to West Virginia. So are they that good, or are they beatable? And that's what the scenario will play out this week.
Brock Snow's the new pitcher for BYU, 6'1", redshirt sophomore from Mesa, Arizona. Went to Southern Idaho for a bit, has a fastball up near 88, and a curve, slider, and a change. So Blade Paragas' night is over, and he leaves the game with a 4-1 lead. Hunter Katchke will be the first to challenge Snow, and Hunter with 21 home runs on the year. Like McNaughton, he is a threat every time he comes to the plate, and he looks at ball 1.
Well, I thought Paragas really had a great inning last inning. The first inning he was a little bit shaky, but that last inning he looked pretty good.
Ball 2.
Two and 0. You think most times you'd be taken here, but not Katchke. I think he's going after this.
Hard hit right past a diving Ryder Robinson, and a base hit, a second hit of the game for Katchke. And the Wolverines start the third with the leadoff man on first base. You got to hit it pretty hard to get it past Ryder Robinson on a shot like that.
Yeah, and he still almost got to it. He's got tremendous range. We saw that double play he turned in that first inning all by himself, unassisted.
Brody block at the plate. He grounded out his first time up. That one way inside and nearly hit him. And they're going to say it did hit him. And so Block heads to first. Katchke heads over to second.
Well, it's interesting because Block didn't think he was hit. Oh, you can see it does barely touch him. Just barely ticks him.
Good eye by Jeff Clough to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. These umpires are good.
Caden Carpenter hit a home run his first time up. He can tie the game with a big swing right here. 0-1.
Boy, he was sitting on that one. That was a great swing and just missed it. 74-mile-an-hour changeup.
Taps Parker Goff on the back. Goff got a piece of that. So Jeff Clough buying the catcher a little time to recover.
Carpenter's a big guy. He's 6'4", 225 pounds.
That's like a tight end across the street. One and one.
That was a curveball, 78 miles an hour, just a little bit low.
Ball 2, 2-1. Nobody out, 2 on. And Brock Snow throwing himself into some trouble here in the third inning. Strike. Good looking pitch. Carpenter, you saw him think about pulling the trigger and he just didn't.
Oh, the sharp breaking curveball, 78 miles an hour, just hit the outside part of the plate. It was a really good pitch by Snow that time.
Fouls this one out of play.
Tried the same pitch there.
"13 home runs in 3 years at Utah, 14 home runs in 1 season at Utah Valley." With a revamped swing. This one's hit hard. Diving stab by Anderson. Underhands it in time to McNaughton. That saves runs. There's 1 out. Over to third goes Katchke and blocks at second.
Well, that's highway robbery right there from number 11. Anderson makes a dive. It gets in his glove and it pops out. So he doesn't have time to stand up. So he underhand flips it just in time to get Carpenter.
Now Chipper Beck, who singled his first time up. He steps into the box. A chance to cut into this BYU lead. Runners at second and third with 1 out. Wild pitch. Katchke will score. And it's 4-2. And over to third goes Block. Snow shaking his head. That pitch makes it awfully tough on his catcher. There's another one. Only this time it hits back. And he heads over to first. Out comes Adrian Dinkle, the pitching coach, to try and figure out what's gone wrong with Brock Snow.
Well, you can hear that from up here.
Right off the elbow guard. So still just the one out. Mason Strong's going to come to the plate, and runners are at the corners. Austin Park getting loose. Adrian Dinkel's done a tremendous job with what he inherited. BYU at 25 wins and in the Big 12 tournament, but the area that has to get better for next season, and he'll be the first to tell you, is pitching. Starting pitching, bullpen pitching, everything to do with pitching. So Strong is going to step in, and let's see what Brock Snow can do after the pep talk.
Well, we'll see if Beck takes off for second here.
Robinson over to second for one, on to first. Double play. What a turn. And Brock Snow wiggles out of a jam. Wolverines get one. They cut it to 4-2. But for the second time in this young game, the Cougars turn two and turn the Wolverines away. It'll be Jones leading off for BYU coming up. How about this? Just a moment ago, Ryder Robinson at shortstop turning a double play. First the stop, Gary, then over to Luke Anderson, and then the rocket to McNaughton.
Well, that shows the range of Robinson. First, I didn't think he could get to this. When he did, look how quick he gets that release, and look at the feed to the second baseman. Perfect feed and a nice turn by Anderson. That's an ESPN special play that might be on later on this evening, because that was that type of play by Ryder Robinson to turn that into a double play.
Easton Jones to left field. This one is deep. The question is it fair? And it bends foul. Just a long strike, and it's 1-1 to Jones.
Well, this first base umpire, that's Brandon Riley. Third base umpire Travis Roberts. They've had a chance to look at these long fly balls. They're so far out of the ballpark that it's hard to tell when it leaves the park. And but I think they're very good umpires, and I think they got both of those right.
Jones was going after that one. A full body swing, 1-2. Easton singled his first time up. Those were towering foul balls right over the foul pole. And from the vantage point of the fans, they're like, hey, I think that bend in there for a home run, but not the case.
Yeah, they're so far out of the park that it's just hard to tell.
Jones reaches for this one. Gloved by Hamlin and dug out by Barnhart. There's one down.
Well, the shift was on for Jones that time, and it went right up the middle. And second baseman Hamlin was in perfect position to get that. Made a nice charge there and got rid of it in a hurry. So we're seeing some good defensive plays out there by these two teams.
Drew McChesney got hit by a pitch his first time up. He looks at ball one from Cohen Bach. Utah Valley will host UT Arlington Thursday through Saturday to wrap up their season. Ball two to McChesney. So that'll be going on up the street in Orem while BYU and Kansas are dueling here at Miller Park. McChesney line drive to center field and over to make the diving catches Carpenter, an outstanding fielder out that way, but initially he couldn't see it.
Yeah, he did not see that ball off the bat. He made a couple moves to his left, stopped, then they made another couple moves to his left, and then finally saw it and made a very, very good catch. That ball was hit hard and to the warning track out there, and you can see Carpenter at the last second makes a dive right at the fence. Very nice defensive play by Caden Carpenter.
Seen two good plays here in the inning for the Wolverines. Now Tua Wolfgram. Fouls off the first pitch. Wolfgram popped out his first time up. Popped out with bases loaded, and then Matt Hansen came up and drove in 2 runs with a single.
Almost a grand slam that just was foul.
1-1. Wolfgram wasn't seeing any playing time to speak of until Bryker Herdsman pulled up lame earlier in the season, and then he came in and the Cougars couldn't find a good reason to take him out. And then when Herdsman came back, they moved Wolfgram to center because McChesney was hurt. And he stayed out there in center. 1-2.
Was a nice curveball that time by Bach. He sure had Wolfgram fooled.
I think another one of those pitches are coming right here. Let's see. 1-2. 2-2. Bat Boy making a dead sprint to chase down that ball and head back to the BYU dugout. Coach's kids getting a workout on a hot night. Two-two pitch. The count goes full. Just 6 at-bats last year for Wolfgram. Much different 2026, but he looks at strike 3 as Bach hits the corner. We played 3 here in Provo, and the Cougars lead the Wolverines 4-2. Cohen Bach. Watch him paint that corner. Strike 3.
Every business has a rival with bigger billboards, flashier ads. You know, the one with the slick AI bot. Like BYU's fight song, it's time to vanquish the foe. BYU Athletics puts your brand in front of one of the most loyal fan bases in college sports. Digital signage, promotions, social media, or TV spots like this one will help your business rise to victory. Email sponsorship at byu.edu and unfold your victory story with BYU Athletics.
Building a legacy isn't just about winning. It takes drive, commitment, and the will to tackle adversity. Be a part of this proud history with a BYU card from Mountain America Credit Union.
I went with my style checking and a debit card.
And I have a rewards credit card.
Cosmo?
He has both.
Continue the legacy. Get your BYU debit or credit card exclusively at Mountain America.
Here are the Big 12 standings heading into the final week of the regular season. Gary, as you see those two, the two teams on the top are going to meet on Thursday. Only one of them's in 8th place and one of them's in 1st place. But the Jayhawks and Cougars heading down the stretch.
Well, you look at the top 6 are going to get a bye. So if you look at that 6th place team, that's TCU. Depending on how they finish the season, and BYU is going to be playing the #1 team in the Big 12, so it should be a fun series to watch.
Big 12 tournament starts 1 week from today in Surprise, Arizona. This is Austin Park, the 3rd pitcher for BYU tonight. And Austin is a 6'1" freshman out of Mona, Utah, the pride of Juab High School. 1-0 on the year. Strikeouts 32 to 17 walks. And he takes the hill with a 4-2 lead. And he'll face Derek Houston. Houston flew out his first time up. Boy, what a Sunday for Derek Houston. A home run and 2 doubles against Abilene Christian. And he fouls off the first pitch. So we've got Houston out of Kanab High School and Park from Juab battling it out here at Miller Park.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Small schools like that, and they're making it to the major college baseball, so that's awesome.
Inside and high, 1-1.
Houston's got good size. He's 6'2", 210 pounds.
A strike, 1-2. So we have the Kanab Cowboys, I believe it is, and the Juab Wasps. Ball 2. What was your mascot in high school?
Panthers.
Panther. We're the Tigers. How would you feel about being a wasp?
Well, you know, that's interesting. I like the costume they're going to be wearing.
Up in Salt Lake County, there's the Jordan Beet Diggers. We never did really understand that one from back in the old sugar beet fields.
Yeah, we used to think of what do you cheer for? You know, with Jordan, let's go Beets, let's go Diggers. I mean, you know, it's not a good thing to cheer for.
Here's a 2-2. Count goes full. And Park flips it in there for strike 3. There's 1 down.
Yeah, Derek Houston was expecting another pitch there. That was right down the middle.
Trenton Rowan flew out his first time up. And here's his first shot at Austin Park. Center field, Wolfgram moves over, makes a catch.
You can see the sunglasses on Wolfgram right there. You know, he raises his glove to see the shade his eyes there. But that ball, as soon as it was hit, Wolfgram got a great jump on the ball. And we saw last inning, Carpenter couldn't pick it up very well, but there Wolfgram gets a good jump on it and makes a routine play, whereas Carpenter, after he found it, made a great play diving on the warning track.
2 down for Joseph Barnhart. Curveball in for a strike.
That was a 74-mile-an-hour curveball, really sharp break. Nice little changeup right there from Park.
Off the corner, ball 1. Big cut.
Well, Barnhart's a Northern California guy out of Stockton, California, and his favorite hobbies include playing the guitar, fishing, and golfing. So immediately he becomes a great guy.
1-2. This one's high. You look out at that BYU defense. There's only one player who's not from the state of Utah, and that's the first baseman, McNaughton. Talking about a lot of local flavor in this matchup tonight. Got to make Utah high school baseball coaches happy to hear that the homegrown kids are finding places to play at Utah Valley, BYU, Utah Tech, Utah.
Absolutely, and we noticed a lot of players are from Arizona. So from Utah and Arizona, a number of players are playing for both of these teams.
That one's high, and ball 4 for Barnhart, and he'll walk on down to first base with 2 outs here in the 4th inning.
There's a fastball, 91 miles an hour, and you can see it's up in the zone.
Hamlin comes back. He struck out his first time up, and now he'll take his first wax at Austin Park. Barnhart, a little lead off first. Parker Goff's been pretty good throwing out base stealers. And this foul ball into the screen, and Barnhart took off like he was gonna attempt to steal, and then he slammed on the brakes.
Yeah, that was a good bluff there. He has not stolen the base this season. He's 0 for 0. But that was a good bluff. Looked like he was going.
He's going now. Park steps back and throws it in the dirt. I think they're going to get him for a balk anyway. Trent Pratt's out for an explanation, and Travis Roberts, the third base umpire, is going to give him one.
Well, Barnhart just takes off. Look at him go. He steps off the mound.
It's almost like Park forgot he was over there.
Someone should have been yelling. Second base, step off.
So now Barnhart's in scoring position. 0-1 to count for Hamlin. Another foul ball over to the dugout of the Wolverines. 0-2. This one way out ahead of that one, puts it into the BYU bullpen.
Well, that was a hanging curveball, 73 miles an hour.
There's a souvenir down there.
Yeah, but right up in the power zone of Hamlin, and he just missed that. He crushed that, was just a little bit ahead of it.
And we'll see what Park comes up with here. Counts 0-2 with 2 outs.
4 home runs on the season for Hamlin.
Misses on the corner. 1-2.
Very good pitch that time by Park. Keep it a little bit outside. See if Hamlin will go fishing for it.
Two and two.
I don't think he's going to throw him that change curve anymore after what he saw Hamlin do with it.
Hunter Katchke's on deck. Boy, he'd love to have a shot at an at-bat with 2 runners on board. 2-2 pitch. Ball 3, and it's past Goff, and over to third goes Barnhart. Now the count's full. Full count. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Wolverines lead Barnhart on board. Bottom of the 4th coming up. It's 4-2 BYU with Matt Hansen leading it off for the Cougars after this. Tonight's flyover is brought to you by Delta Airlines. Boy, you know what? They're up there in those cramped seats. We're down here watching a ball game, Gary.
Well, they're in the Bob Uecker seats up there. They got a long ways to watch this game, but it's a great game today.
Back at Miller Park, Dave McCann, Gary Scheide, 4-2. BYU leads Utah Valley. Bottom of the fourth inning, our pleasure to bring in Wolverines head coach Nate Rasmussen. Coach, let's talk about your two big hitters. Caden Carpenter has already hit a bomb tonight, and Hunter Katschke has hit 21 on the year. What is it about these guys?
They just come to work every day, and when you do that, and when you're dialed into the process, you know, Caden Carpenter, he really understands at this point, like, how the pitcher's going to throw him, what's going to come, how it's going to move. He's really worked himself to that. And same with Hunter Katschke, understanding that he's made this huge jump in homers, and they're going to pitch him different, and that's why they're able to have the years that they're having.
You know, Coach, I watched you in that game against Oregon. You had such a calm demeanor. And when you guys beat them, the whole state of Utah, I was rooting for you guys. The whole state of Utah was rooting for you. And as a player at Pacific University in Oregon, that had to be pretty special.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, our pitching coach is right next to me, and I played together up in that area. And he's from just south of Eugene, so his whole family's up there. My whole family's up there. It was awesome. I mean, obviously, it's easy to be calm when we had the group that we had last year. That it was the most competitive group in the country, and you knew what you were going to get every single day. So that part was awesome.
It's been a tough season with injuries, but that win last year, what did that do for recruiting for next year?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, we have a really good class coming in. We're fired up. We have people from all over the country coming in. So it's awesome.
What you also are doing is joining the Big West Conference in July and knock heads with 11 other programs, all from the state of California. Forecast what this all means for the Wolverines and your program moving forward.
You know, when I grew up, my dad was from Southern California, and all we talked about was Cal State Fullerton. When they won it, I think in 2001, we went and watched like 14 games in Omaha, going to watch them. He also is a Cal State Northridge alum, and so I grew up with a very well-known, obviously, that conference. And when you think Big West, you think baseball. And so when we had a shot to go in, I remember talking to our ADs like, hey, man, there's a lot of good teams out there. And I was like, absolutely, and we get to go be one of them. And so it's exciting. It's huge for our university, just the uptick and the continuation. You look at, you know, BYU played in the WAC at one point in the Mountain West, and look where they're at now. And our university's so young and so fresh, and it's a fun time to be at UVU, and it's really awesome to be able to go into that conference.
All right, through this season, which hasn't gone how you had hoped, what's Alyssa's advice been for you on a day-to-day basis, your wife?
Usually she throws a 4-year-old or a 2-year-old in my hands and says, go be dad for a while. You know, and that's equally her trying to get my mind off of baseball probably for the next 45 minutes, and also probably tapped out a little bit while we're on the road with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So she's been fantastic. I have one of the most supportive wives in the world. She's lived in 4 states with me. She's traveled this country, and so to be here and know how much we invest in our players and how much we go about it, she's just incredibly supportive, and we're very lucky that she's, you know, Mother's Day yesterday I wasn't even there, or 2 days ago I wasn't even there, right? Like 6th straight year. And so advice is more just like, hey, take a breath and you'll figure it out for sure.
Well, and have a great summer and enjoy the Big West, and we'll see you back here next year. But we congratulate you on your big picture approach to what you're doing with Utah Valley. Good job.
I appreciate it, and thanks for your guys' coverage here. It's always fantastic coming here, and then we'll see you here in a year.
Nate Rasmussen, the head coach at Utah Valley. Thank you, Coach. And boy, you're right, Gary. Wasn't that exciting to watch them beat the 12th ranked Ducks on their field in the NCAA regional last year? And they did it, and it wasn't a fluke either. They just beat them straight up.
Yeah, that was so fun. And I just like Coach Rasmussen's demeanor there. I mean, he was so calm. Here they are playing one of the best teams in the country, and he just kept us calm. And they had a great, you know, they won a lot of games. It was a great season for them.
1-1 to Parker Goff. Pops it up foul and out of play. Matt Hansen earned a walk. He's over at first base, and that's how the 4th inning starts. And we'll visit with Trent Pratt in just a little bit. He's got a big week ahead with Kansas coming in starting on Thursday. Goff grounded out his first time up. Throw back over to first base. Well, Big West has got Cal Baptist, Cal Poly, Cal State Bakersfield, Cal State Fullerton, CSUN, Long Beach State, Sacramento State, Irvine, Riverside, UC San Diego, and Santa Barbara. How about that for some good weather?
You know, that will be a fun conference to play in. If you're Utah Valley and you're thinking of, in February and March, and you're out there playing in California every game, and yeah, that'll be a fun conference to play in. Some very good teams.
They'll compete in 13 sports in the Big West. Wrestling will remain in the Big 12. 1-2 to Goff. Left field, base hit. Hansen turns the corner at second. He's heading to third. Trent Pratt's going to send him home. And he'll score from first base. And it's 5-2 BYU.
Well, that ball was just ripped down the line. And by the time Houston comes up with it, it hits the wall out there. You can see the hooking liner. And watch how it comes off the wall, different than what he'd expected. Took a big hop out there. And by the time he picks it up, then even Hansen is just chugging around second, gets the go sign, and he doesn't need to slide, but he does it anyway. He's tired.
It's a soft landing. Bryker Herdsman will step in. That's the 8th double on the year for Parker Goff. Herdsman 0 for 2 so far tonight. That one off the plate, and ball one. Still nobody out here in the 4th inning. 5-2 BYU. Herdsman last year led the Cougars at 337. This year he's sitting at 288 coming into tonight. He was in the WAC for a while with Utah Tech and transferred over to finish here at BYU these last 3 seasons. A throwback over to Mason Hamlin, the second baseman.
Yeah, Bryker's has a wife, and her name is Heather. He's majoring in health science, and he always has chapstick in the back pocket during the game. So that's a interesting little tidbit there.
He gets hit by a pitch and will head to first base.
That kind of hurt a little bit. That was an 88 mile an hour just coming right. There's no way he could get out of the way of that one.
Right on the elbow, just above it.
The left elbow.
Put some chapstick on that.
Yeah, yeah, just rub it, rub a little water on there. And
Nate Rasmussen's walking out to the mound. We'll see if he's going to make a change or not. I was on campus earlier today over by the Mazer building where the older buildings are, and the deer hanging out there in the shade, and just a spectacular area of campus for BYU. A lot of folks have walked that walk over the years.
Yeah, I know. I spent most of my time in the lower part of campus, as a PE major and recreation minor, and I was down in the Richards building, and I didn't get up on campus a whole lot, but your general ed classes, you get up there, and it's just wherever you went, it was absolutely beautiful. Just the beautiful girls, and you're walking up to the stairs and looking at the mountains and the buildings, the classrooms
and
were incredible.
You were the quarterback, living the dream.
Yep.
Imagine what it'd be to be Gary Scheide walking around campus back in the day. Pitching change. We'll introduce the new arm for the Wolverines after the Say hello to Chance Wallace. He's a senior out of Portland, Oregon, Pacific University, and finishing up in Orem at Utah Valley. Another lefty out of the bullpen for the Wolverines. One of the big stories, of course, across the state of Utah this week was the NBA lottery draft order. The Washington Wizards picked first, but then all of a sudden you hear the Jazz picking second, and then Memphis and Chicago. But A.J. Debonsa, he's either going to be one and go to the Wizards, or somehow the Jazz are going to figure out to get him at number 2.
You know, and they're talking, the Jazz are talking to maybe trading to see if they can get that one. They're going to try to see what Washington's going to go with. And if they're not going with Debonsa, they'll just stay at 2. But I think they really want AJ to be at Utah. He would be, what a draw he'd be in Utah.
Oh yeah, you can build a franchise around him. Cougar fans very interested in that. Jazz fans certainly as well. AJ put on quite a show across the street at the Marriott Center this past season. Projected to be the #1 overall pick.
Yeah, and they're looking at another pick. Richie Saunders is another interesting one.
Yeah.
You know, will he go in the second round? And anyway, that's going to be fun to follow here. And you're looking at Chance Wallace here. As you say, it was from Pacific University in 4 seasons. He finished his career at 5-5, had 25 career appearances. Favorite hobbies are golf, walking dogs, and fishing.
Luke Anderson at the plate. Sees the first pitch and drives it into right field. Goff will stop at third, and the bases are loaded. Brock gets that in quickly, and they're loaded up for Ezra McNaughton. That's the second single of the night for Anderson.
Well, with no outs, you know, yeah, I think it's smart to hold up the runner here and in 2 hops, gets quickly out to block, gets the ball in quickly, and with no outs, McNaughton up there, the safe thing to do is give McNaughton a chance here.
This is the last guy that Utah Valley wants to see at the plate with bases loaded and nobody out, and here he is. McNaughton already with a 2-run home run tonight and a walk. He goes after the first pitch from Wallace, strike 1.
Well, the interesting scenario here is first 2 times up McNaughton has been, there's been 4 outfielders. Well, the base is loaded, you can't do that. So they're playing him straight away this time.
McNaughton with 50 runs batted in, most on the team. And now Wallace has him 0-2.
That was a fastball on the outside part of the plate. McNaughton just had kind of a half-hearted swing at that one.
Cougars are still looking for their first grand slam of the season. Here's the 0-2 pitch outside for ball 1. It doesn't get any easier for Wallace with Robinson and Jones up next. But priority #1 is this guy right here, McNaughton. 1-2. Stays alive.
Good pitch that time by Wallace. That's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball on the outside part of the plate. And McNaughton just takes a defensive swing just to foul it off.
Bryson Campbell, the hitting coach, told me this week that Ezra's goal every time up is to hit the pitch right back to the pitcher. Take aim at the pitcher with a line drive. That's his approach, though. He slaps line drives all over the place, and then he has power to get him out of here. But that's an interesting perspective as he wants to send it right back to the pitcher in line drive form. This one to pop up into left. Houston moves over into foul territory, makes the catch. Goff tags from third. Here's the throw and the slide, safe.
Well, you can see home plate umpire Jeff Clough had the hand out ready to give him a call. Now they're going to take a look at this. But I think that was the right call. He was going to give him the out sign, and he pulled it back to give him the safe sign. The ball beat him, but watch where the tag is.
Here comes the tag.
It's
Goff
too high.
has his left hand sliding across the plate. This will be a good angle right here. Here's the left hand. Ooh, that is close.
Yes, very close.
But look in position there. Perfectly placed is Jeff Clough. And they're going to take a look at it. Why not?
Yeah, that was a bang play. That could have gone either way. Like I say, it looked like Clough, opening umpire, was going to ring him up, and but he pulled it back at the last second. Bang play. He tags it with his opposite hand, and that's what made it.
Of course, watch Goff. He's there to help make the call. Tag hasn't come yet. And the question is, Gary, he's called safe. How can you overturn that?
Yeah, I don't think so, because he reaches across and touches it with his right hand.
It's like Javi Baez coming in. There's the tag hasn't been made yet.
There's the touch.
Now he's got it, and
yeah, that's how close. Touch. That's how close it is, though, Dave. You know, I mean, you're talking about a bang play right there. And
shout out to our camera crew and replay guys and men and women doing that great work.
If they've got that look, Dave, then he's safe. But I don't know if they've got that look. We don't know what they're looking at in the booth. They should show us, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they really should.
Yeah, we should see what exactly.
Then they should call up here and say, "Hey, what do you guys think?"
Well, yeah, we'll give our opinions on it. It was a really nice throw by Houston. I mean, it was a great catch, running catch, goes down, sliding, and gets right back up and throws a shot, strike into Mason Strong. So really nice play, and bang play at the plate. And I just don't think there's enough evidence to overturn that one.
Well, as they mull things over, Nate Rasmussen back out of the dugout talking to first base umpire Brandon Riley. Here's another look from our center field camera. And now the crew has come out from the replay room. Safe on the slide by Goff. Beautiful work for the senior from Harriman.
Yeah, it was
and an RBI for McNaughton.
Beautiful slide, and Mason Strong made a very nice play. Nice tag, and just bang play that close.
6-2 BYU, and now Robinson will move to the right side, facing the lefty Wallace.
Well, McNaughton's happy about that call, because he'll get credited with a sacrifice fly and a run batted in.
Now 51 on the year for McNaughton. A strike on the corner for Robinson. Herdsman now is at second base, and Luke Anderson's over at first. One out here in the fourth inning. Throw back over to second, gets into center field. Herdsman goes over to third, and they'll hold him there. Anderson moves to second. That's a risk you take. And now a base hit by Robinson. A chance to score Anderson, who's got some good speed at second base.
Well, the infield will now be coming in for UVU. The shift is on against Robinson.
Outside, Robinson with 31 runs batted in on the year. And now a fly ball will score Herdsman. Two and one. Easton Jones on deck. Inside, 3-1.
That was a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and you see Robinson striding into it. He had to jump back, get away from that pitch.
There you see Herdsman and Anderson. Left field. That one's going to bounce in front of Houston. Herdsman will score. Anderson moves over to third base. An RBI single for Robinson, and it's 7-2.
Well, he didn't hit it hard, but you can see Houston was playing fairly deep for Robinson, and it drops right in front of him there. Easily scores the runner from second.
Or third, you mean?
No, from third.
Came in.
And the runner from second goes to third. So first and third now with one out, and RBI for Robinson.
Jones comes to the plate. 1 for 2 so far tonight for the senior from American Fork. 3 runs in the inning for BYU. And Wallace comes in high for ball 1. Ball 2. Jones with 37 runs batted in on the year. Pops it foul and out of play. 2-1. Throw over to first, resets the pitch clock, and gives a chance for Wallace to catch his breath.
Well, this is an opportunity possibly with the speed of Robinson over there to send him.
Strike on the corner, 2-2.
That was a good pitch by Wallace. Fastball 89 miles an hour, tailing away from Easton Jones right on the outside corner.
Here's a big pitch for Wallace. He'll wait on it and throw back over to Barnhart.
Well, I think Robinson looked like he was leaning that time to taking off.
Seven runs on 7 hits for BYU. This one sails over the head of Strong. Anderson comes in. Robinson moves over to second. The count goes full for Jones. And it's 8-2.
That's a fastball, 90 miles an hour. Just it wasn't even a catchable ball there for Mason Strong. He jumped as high as he could. It was way over his head, and goes a wild pitch.
Three and 2 to Easton Jones. Anderson takes off. Check that, Robinson, and he steals third. Jones draws a walk and heads to first.
Well, that time Robinson got a huge lead. He got a walk-off lead off of second base, and then as soon as Wallace went towards home plate, he was 3/4 of the way down there. So no chance for Strong to get Robinson out of third.
Now McChesney comes up. Got hit by a pitch, and then he flew out. Nearly got one out of the park. Runners at the corners with 1 out. Boy, a full throttle swing there. Hardly a breeze here in the ballpark tonight as we approach sundown. Just spectacular here at Miller Park. 0-2.
Well, you can see Carpenter out there in center field. He's kind of trying to shade his eyes. He's right in the sun, and with every pitch, he's got to shade his eyes because he can't, so he can pick it up right there. You watch, there's the hand go up. He's got the sunglasses on, shades his eyes.
Throw over to first. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Got him. Got him swinging on 3 pitches, and there's 2 down.
That ball 90 miles an hour. And look at this location. A really nice pitch when you're ahead 0-2 in the count. You get it up in the zone, outside and away. That's a tough pitch to hit.
Swinging for the downs. And that'll bring up 2-0 Wolfgram with 2 outs here in the 4th. Wolfgram a pop out and a strikeout. He's due to make something happen. Fouls it away. It's funny how in baseball you see hitters go through a couple of weeks where they hit everything, and then they get into a couple of weeks where they can't hit anything.
Yeah, they get in a slump, and then the ball looks like a little golf ball, and then when you're hitting it, it looks like a beach ball.
1-1. Wolfgram's been in a little bit of a funk as of late, and he's been all over the batting order. He's been lead off and hitting third, fourth. Down in the order tonight. Coming in hitting .252 on the year. 2-1. We've seen him with some electrifying plays this season, both in the field and at the plate. Strike two. 2-2 the count.
Well, we see that Wallace throws that high, hard one, and BYU's chasing it. They're not catching up to it.
Two and two. Wolfgram to the gap. Robinson will score. Jones heads to third. Trent Pratt waves him home. Here's the throw. Jones in without a slide. It's a two-run double for Wolfgram.
Well, Wolfgram looked bad on a couple swings there, but right there, man, he hit a rocket shot right in the gap. Look, the location was right down the middle. Wolfgram straightens it out, gets all the way to the wall before Houston and Carpenter can converge on it, and Jones scores all the way from first base on that double.
Wallace roughed up out of the bullpen. 6 runs are in here in the fourth. That's going to be it for Wallace. And we'll introduce a new pitcher to the game here on this Tuesday night. Coming up as the Cougars have scored 6 so far here in the fourth. Aaron Rice is the new pitcher for Utah Valley, a 6'3", 230-pound senior out of Brillion, Wisconsin. And he's come in to try and just get the Wolverines out of the fourth inning. 6 runs are in, and the Cougars lead it 10-2.
Well, Rice, as a redshirt sophomore, made 12 appearances back in 2024, finished 1-0 and threw 17 1/3 innings. Then, as a junior, he made 10 appearances, and they're all starts. Finished the season 1-2, and he threw a complete game at UNLV with 8 innings of work on a career-high 7 strikeouts. So, got good experience out there, 6'3", redshirt senior.
Wolfgram is at second base after a 2-run double. Matt Hansen will be the hitter. And the Wolverines have lost 16 of the last 17 games. Coming into this one tonight, and they're in a deep hole. Here are the common opponents between these two. BYU won the series with Cincinnati. They went 2-2, but lost the conference series to Utah. Utah Tech 1-1, went 0-3 against Cal Baptist. And the only of that group where Utah Valley's been on the winning side is Riverside. They took that 4-game set over the season, 3-1. And a lot of goose eggs. And a lot of that, as we talked about, is tied right to losing their starting rotation to injury. and a couple of their key hitters from last year that aren't back this year. And they missed Jaden Smith and Luke Iverson, certainly in conference play. 0-2 from Matt Hansen. Hansen with a single and a walk. He's out a hot bat these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then when he hit that single right before that, he hit one out of the ballpark with the bases loaded, just curved foul, very close. They re-looked at it and said, yeah, it was a foul ball. So just missed a grand slam.
Here's the 0-2. And that one bounces away from Strong, and over to third goes Wolfgram.
That was a 72-mile-an-hour curveball that time from Rice, and it bounced about 3 feet in front of the plate. Not much of a chance for Mason Strong to come up with that one.
Now he's getting worn out, Mason Strong, behind the plate.
And it's a hot night, and he's chasing a lot of balls, and he used to play here at BYU, but he's just glad for the opportunity to play here.
1-2 to Hansen. This one a little flare into left field, into no man's land. It's an RBI for Hansen. Wolfgram scores, and it's 11-2 in the second hit tonight for the sophomore from Colorado Springs.
Well, Hansen did not hit that hard. It was just a little bloop, but he hit it just in the right spot in nowhere land out there between Houston, Beck, and Carpenter, and they're getting an RBI with that little bloop.
Parker Goff, the double his last time up. 7 runs in the inning. Now Goff's first look at Rice. That one in at 95 miles an hour. Strike one.
Yeah, that was smoke that time from Aaron Rice.
Oh, 2.
Turned it up a notch there. That was 96.
Goff up to 218 on the year. Ball one. Been a different kind of season for Goff. 27 runs batted in last year, and 4 runs batted in so far this year. And the 4th came in his last at bat. Split a lot of time with Ridge Erickson and behind the plate. Strike 3. The inning finally ends for the Wolverines, but not before BYU scores 7 times. Lead at 11-2. We'll visit with Trent Pratt coming up next here on ESPN. Welcome back to Miller Park here in Provo. Top of the 5th inning. BYU leading Utah Valley 11-2. The Cougars scoring 7 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Big 12 tournament starts next week in Surprise, Arizona. And to no one's surprise, BYU will be in the field. Coach, congratulations. That's goal number 1, and you got it done with a win last Friday.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
What does it mean now? You have Kansas coming in. There's still a lot to play for. You're still looking to try and win a bye. Kansas still trying to win the outright title. but it sets up for 3 fun games here at the park.
Yeah, Kansas is a good team, and we're excited to have them come here and play, and we just want to keep playing good baseball. Kind of get on a roll going into the tournament. Teams can go in there and win the tournament when they get hot, and hopefully, we can catch with a hot streak, here towards the end.
Well, today, Coach, you've got another number of barrels on the bat. You guys have hit a number of hard balls out here this evening.
Yeah, hopefully we can keep doing it. We still got 5 innings left, so hopefully we can keep scoring some balls up.
Got a handful of former Cougars on this team from Utah Valley, some playing their last games in this series, but Chipper Beck was a good player for you. You got Strong behind the plate, and the proximity of Utah Valley and BYU, it's fun to get everyone back together.
Yeah, it is. They're awesome kids. I love those kids, and I'm glad they're having success there.
That double play that we saw from Ryder Robinson should have been a highlight play, Coach.
Yeah, it was a big-time play for sure. Jeez Louise.
Katchke, it's number 22. A towering blast to left field, and he leads the Wolverines in single-season home runs, leads the WAC in home runs, or his 9th all-time in home runs. But at the top of the WAC home run list, Trent, is a guy named Corey Snyder, who, even after all these years, is still the all-time home run leader in the WAC with 73.
Yeah, obviously he was, one of the all-time BYU greats.
As you finish this game up and head into the stretch run this weekend, there's a lot of activity across the conference. It might be the most exciting weekend of the year.
It always. I mean, conference is good, so a lot of things come down to the last weekend for sure.
We'll see you on Thursday. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Trent Pratt from the BYU dugout as Hunter Katchke hits a monster home run, 11-3.
What was Coach Pratt's comment on that? I mean, that ball was so far over the scoreboard, and he said something like, geez.
Well, talk about Corey Snyder, a guy who could hit the ball anywhere, hit a ball down the campus in this ballpark in the 82 to 84. And the wax dissolving, but a BYU guy will be the all-time home run leader henceforth.
He's just a great player. BYU's had some great players through the year. But Corey Snyder, he was just a step above.
Brody Block with a single into right field. And the Wolverines showing some life here in the top of the 5th inning.
Yeah, we were talking in the break here, and there's a nice piece of hitting by Brody Block. We were talking, what if BYU has a 10-run lead after 7 innings? In the Big 12, it's after 10 run, you have the 10-run rule, and the game is over. But there's no rule here in this game against UVU, so we'll see how that goes, and we'll see if UVU can battle back and get back in this game.
Jackson Clayton is going to come in from the BYU bullpen. He'll replace Austin Park. Clayton is the pitcher who picked up the win in the 10-5 decision early in the season up in Orem between these two. Let's go look at the scoring. BYU strikes for 4 runs in the bottom of the first, 2 off the 2-run shot from Ezra McNaughton. Bounced it right off the scoreboard. That put the Cougars up 4-1. And then they just poured it on, Gary, with 7 runs in the 4th.
Yeah, that was just an inning that would never end for Utah Valley. And that 4th inning was 7 runs, and it seemed like everybody was hitting, and they batted around. There's a double, goes off the wall, and scores from first base, Hansen. And all the Cougar batters were just getting the barrel on the ball. This one was a little bloop by McNaughton, but watch the catch here and a nice throw home. But the tag up by Goff, bang, bang play, great slide. And look at the replay, he was safe. And then another little bloop hit. And BYU just hit after hit after hit. And 7 runs in that inning. That goes all the way to the wall by Wolfgram.
Robinson comes in. And right behind him is Easton Jones. So the Cougars with 11 runs on 9 hits. Here's a little flare that scores another run as Wolfgram comes in. And that was a whole lot of a lot as the Cougars lead it 11-3. But after giving up a home run to Katchke and a base hit to Block, Trent Pratt said, let's get Jackson Clayton in, freshman out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We've seen him quite a bit this season, and they really think this kid's got a bright future. That one win against Utah Valley, 19 strikeouts to 9 walks.
Yeah, not just in 11 and 3rd innings, has 19 strikeouts. He's got a tremendous slider. Really, really knee-buckling slider, and 90 miles an hour on the fastball, and just a freshman. He's got a lot of potential.
Carpenter with a home run and a ground out. And over at first base is Brody Block. Nobody out here in the top of the 5th inning. Cougars shift defensively as Carpenter looks at ball 1. They're anticipating the 6'4" senior to pull it. There's a strike, 1-1.
Both those pitches have been 73-mile-an-hour changeups, and that one little backdoor changeup slider hits the corner.
Carpenter may just be sitting on a fastball. He knocked one out of the park earlier. Another off speed, 2-1. Misses, 3-1. Chipper Beck on deck for BYU.
Well, you can see Clayton's trying to hit that outside corner with Carpenter, but he's not going after it.
And ball 4. Block heads to second, and Carpenter walks down to first. So first and second, nobody out for Chipper Beck. Trent Pratt a moment ago with us talking about some of these former Cougars that are back really for their last time. That includes Chipper Beck, outstanding shortstop for the Wolverines. And when you got a Ryder Robinson playing shortstop for BYU, you got to go somewhere if you want to play shortstop.
Absolutely. He's a very good shortstop out of Lone Peak High School. Had some great seasons there and had just a lot of potential, but it just he was not going to beat out Ryder Robinson, and he saw a lot writing on the wall, and he says, I'm going to go someplace where I can play, and it's worked out well for him.
You're only young once, and you want to play.
Absolutely, and he leads the team in batting. He's hitting .357 coming into this game. Leads the team in hits, 61.
And Clayton still trying to find the target, 2-0. And out will come Adrian Dinkle, BYU's pitching coach, to talk with Jackson Clayton, who's come out of the bullpen and walked Carpenter, and now a 2-0 count on Beck.
Well, I know my brother was a pitcher, and he was pitching in the game, and he walked the first batter on 4 pitches, and he threw 2 balls to the next pitcher, and our coach came out, and the first thing he said to him is, are you going to throw a strike today? And he said, I'm trying, coach. And he says, well, let's find the plate and let's throw some strikes.
Here's a look at BYU pitching in the Big 12 and out of conference. They've run into some tough numbers in these midweek games. I think Kansas State came in and obliterated the ERA all in one afternoon. But in the Big 12, it's been better, and that's why the Cougars are in 8th place at the moment after being picked to finish 13th. Last year they were the last team in the conference tournament. So if you move up, Gary, 4 spots every year, in 2 years they'll be in first place.
That's a good way to look at it.
You got to build somewhere, right?
That's a good way to look on the right side there.
Ball 3.
Well,
and it's 3-0.
Chipper's going to be taken on this one.
Yeah.
He hasn't seen Clayton throw many strikes. And
Clayton might need to throw a strike to stay in the game here. And a timeout called. I think there might be some
communication,
technical difficulties. Well, this has really sped up the game, I think, but there's been plenty of times when you need new batteries and equipment doesn't work. But back in the day, it wasn't but a few years ago, the catcher's calling the signals, or at least he's looking over to the coach, and then he's got to signal it in, and it just takes some time. Now they just both get the same call at the same time.
Yeah,
wind up and throw it.
Technology is very, very good in this situation right here. Just you know, you got 30 seconds to throw it, and you get the sign, you're ready to go.
3-0 to Chipper Beck. He'll step back and toss it over to Luke Anderson. That with about 3 seconds on the pitch clock, so it resets to 20. Beck's been waiting a long time for a strike. Here's the 3-0. And swinging on a 3-0 and pops it up. And Anderson, one down.
Boy, infield fly was called there. You'd think Chipper might want to take one or two to, you know, with no outs here to try to get the bases loaded, but yeah, he wants to get a hit, so he saw a good pitch and just popped it up.
So another former Cougar will come up and take a shot at it. Here's Mason Strong. Now with one out. Cougars have already turned a pair of double plays tonight. The third one and this inning, if they can get the right ground ball. And another ball from Clayton.
Last year, Mason Strong, he played in 58 games, started them all, and he was first team all WAC and the WAC all tournament most outstanding player. So had a great season last year.
1-1.
He played a couple seasons for Oklahoma. Oklahoma played in 8 games in 2023 and made a start.
Here's a look at the former Cougars on the Utah Valley roster. And the Western Athletic Conference dissolving after this year. And Utah Valley's heading to the Big West. Utah Tech's going to go play baseball in the Mountain West. 1-1 to Strong. 1-2.
Well, that was a high, hard one there. It was 86 miles an hour. Just a little bit above the strike zone, and Strong went chasing that.
Strike 3. And there's 2 down.
Well, that was the best pitch of the day for Jackson Clayton. Sharp breaking curveball. Watch this movement on this ball. Looks good coming in and just breaks right down. And Strong goes after it.
That brings Derek Houston back to the plate. 0 for 2 so far. Block at second. Carpenter still over there at first. And ball 1. I remember the summer BYU was joining the Big 12, and just such a big deal. And for Utah Valley, they're ecstatic over joining the Big West on July 1st. And a bright future ahead. A good baseball and a good basketball league, for that matter.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'd love to see that baseball season go as it progresses, because those are some very good teams that are in that conference. And if you can win that conference, or get in the top teams for the playoff, it'll be interesting to watch.
1-1. You saw the championship wall down there in left field. BYU winning the WCC title in 2019. It's been tough sledding, but they're trending in all the right directions in their 3rd season in the Big 12. Big 12 tournament next week in Arizona. 2-1. And Houston gets hit, and now the bases are loaded. And that's going to be it for Jackson Clayton. Just not the control tonight. And Trent Pratt's going to go back to the bullpen. The Wolverines have loaded the bases here in the 5th inning. We'll introduce you to the next arm as we roll on from Provo after this on ESPN. Here's Luke Sterner, 6'2" senior out of Laguna Niguel, California. Fastball up near 93. Curve cutter, change. His slider is his best pitch. He's 1-1 on the year with 19 innings of work. And he inherits a bases loaded situation with 2 outs here in the top of the 5th inning. BYU scored 7 in the bottom of the 4th. The Wolverines have 1 so far here in the 5th, and the right hit in the right place can bring in a whole bunch more.
Yeah, well, when you get the bases loaded, 2 outs, a key hit right here can get UVU back in the game. You think if it hits a home run, you're within 4. So anyways, a lot of things can still happen here, and it's an important event for Rowan and an important inning for Sterner.
Here's a look at the WAC standings. Utah Valley will not qualify for the 6-team conference tournament next week. Utah Tech will be there. Cal Baptist, who swept BYU here in Provo very early in the season. They've got a good pitching staff. They're rolling. Abilene Christian, who took 2 of 3 from Utah Valley over the weekend. They're sitting at 8-7. And ready for the last hurrah, the last baseball tournament in the history of the Western Athletic Conference. Trenton Rowan comes up with a big opportunity. A couple of flyouts so far tonight for the junior out of Colorado. Blocks at 3rd, Carpenter's at 2nd, Houston is at 1st. And Sterner's first pitch. Strike 1. Misses the inside corner. 1-1. This one a rope down the line, and the grand slam goes foul.
Boy, Rowan hit that thing hard. That was a changeup, 76 miles an hour, and just kind of hung right over the middle of the plate. And Rowan just turned on it, but just missed it.
1-2.
I don't think you're going to see that pitch again. Rowan was all over that.
We'll see what Sterner has. Another one fouled away.
And that one got up to 91. That's a good location on the outside part of the plate, and Rowan does a nice job of protecting it.
Goff gets ready. Sterner's ready. The count's 1-2. This one down the line, foul. And he stays alive, wins another pitch.
Well, Rowan's working both foul lines here. Fouled one off to right, the hard line drive off a changeup, and that was 92-mile-an-hour fastball. He kind of just misses a hit out to left field, just misses it about 5 feet foul.
Sterner looks around as he sees Wolverines on every bag. Outside, 2-2. There's Brody Block at third. Caden Carpenter at second. Houston's over at first. Here's the 2-2. Another foul ball.
It was a slider that time from Luke Sterner, 83 miles an hour, trying to catch that outside corner.
We'll do it again. Here comes Sterner. Anderson runs it down over to first just in time. And the Wolverines score one, but they leave the bases loaded. Luke Sterner does his job. It'll be Herdsman, Anderson, and McNaughton coming up for BYU.
Hi, I'm Carla, founder of Big Billy Turf and the creator of Efforts Flow by Carla. From snowy winters to hot summers, our turf is designed to handle Salt Lake's unique climate. I started this company because I wanted something that was better than what was out there. Turf that actually works for real life, especially for your kids and your pets. My dog Waffles is my toughest critic, and she approves. So if you're ready to stop fighting with your yard, start loving it, Efforts Flow by Carla is only available at Big Billy Turf.
Everything we do at BYU begins and ends with our students in mind. The most important work we do is building our students spiritually and intellectually. Strengthening each student's faith and testimony in Jesus Christ has always been a part of BYU's mission. You've entered to learn. Now go forward to serve.
Bottom of the fifth here in Provo. Look at what the Cougars have done so far. 11 runs, couple of doubles, and Ezra McNaughton 2-run shot. 10 runs batted in. They lead it 11-3 with Bryker Herdsman leading it off. And Aaron Rice on the hill for Utah Valley. Wolverines had the bases loaded, but couldn't get anything done in the top of the fifth. And now Herdsman and the Cougars go back to work.
Well, BYU scored 11 runs in that last game against Texas Tech with three-run home runs, but it wasn't enough. They lost 15-11.
Herdsman 0 for 2 with a bruise after getting hit by a pitch. Base hit into left field. First single of the night for the senior out of St. George. And that'll bring Luke Anderson back to the plate. Good pitch to hit right out to Derek Houston. Anderson with 2 singles and a flyout tonight. BYU will need a big series from Anderson when Kansas comes to town starting Thursday.
Yeah, they'd sure like to save some of these runs, wouldn't they, Dave, for the Kansas series?
Be nice if we could bank some.
Yeah.
And use them for later. Kansas just got swept at home by West Virginia, which really kind of stunned the Jayhawks. And now they've got to come and have a good series to hang on to the #1 seed in next week's tournament. Hard hit right at the shortstop. Beck out at second and to first. It's a double play for the Wolverines. A nice throw from Beck over to Hamlin to Barnhart. 2 down.
Well, that was a tough hop that time by Beck. Look at this ball. Beautiful. Go with it. The feed wasn't great, but a nice pivot from Hamlin to get Anderson on a double play.
Now McNaughton to the plate, and the Wolverines shift to 4 outfielders. And Aaron Rice breathing a little easier with nobody on the bags, but he's got a big challenge waiting for him at the plate. McNaughton with 3 runs batted in already tonight. Looks at strike 1. There you see the configuration here.
Outfield shift. And then a second baseman, you know, it's kind of like a rover out there. So it's almost like having 5 outfielders. And Derek Houston looks pretty lonely out there in left. And there's nobody on the third base side over there defensively in the infield.
1-1. Now 1-2.
It's only 1 for 1 because he's walked and got an RBI sacrifice fly, but the 1 for 1 he hit the scoreboard out there in right field, so the shift had no effect on that hit.
Left field. Out there is Houston and makes the catch. A nice inning for Aaron Rice. On to the 6th we go. 11-3 Cougars. It'll be Barnhart, Hamlin, and Katchke. The last time Katchke was up, he hit a monster home run. We'll see him again here in a minute on ESPN.
Omaha, Nebraska, the epicenter of college baseball. Teams holding their breath for a chance to dogpile in America's heartland. It's the NCAA Baseball Selection Show with watch parties all over the country. Let the road to Omaha begin.
15 days away from the NCAA Selection Show. You can watch it Monday, May 25th at noon Eastern on ESPN2. Big swing to start the 6th inning. by Joseph Barnhart. Strikeout and a walk so far tonight for the senior out of Stockton, California. Luke Sterner continuing on the hill for BYU. The Cougars hope to be heard in that selection show, but to get there, Gary, they may just have to win the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, that's the problem, because there's so many good teams in the Big 12. You're almost got 6 or 7 of them guaranteed, so that to get that 8th one, it's going to be tough.
This one with some room out there as Wolfgram converges and makes the catch. We've seen some great moves by Wolfgram in center and right field this season, and that's right up there with the best of them.
Well, he just covers so much ground. That ball looked like a sure hit to the gap out there. Watch the ground that Wolfgram covers here. I mean, the ball's not in the air that long, and he makes a diving catch. That's the same thing he did against Utah. He was out in right field in the first game that they played, and he made a saving play just like that.
You see Barnhart salute him. He knows what kind of play that was.
Tip your cap to him. That's awesome.
This one out to right field. It'll bounce in front of Herdsman, and Mason Hamlin has his first hit of the night. And that'll bring up Hunter Ketschke.
Wolfgram's looking over there at Herdsman and say, hey, you know.
How about some effort?
Yeah, you saw me run all that distance. How much did you run for that one, Breiker?
Breiker's like, I'm a senior #1, and it's 11-3. Well, here's Ketschke with a towering home run. His last time up for his 22nd on the year. That's the most ever in a single season for the Wolverines. And #9 all-time in the WAC with 46 career shots.
He hit it against Austin Park, and it was a hanging curveball, and it was hit so far out of the park.
Ketschke at College of Southern Nevada and Utah Tech. 46 career blasts. Here's a throw down to first, and Hamlin gets back safe. 0-2 the count for Ketschke. He won't catch Corey Snyder, who's got 73. But for this season, for a team that's in last place, for Ketschke to lead the conference in home runs, that's saying something. Nearly hit him. Ball one.
Well, that was a 94-mile-an-hour. That's the fastest pitch that Sterner has thrown tonight, and brushes him off the plate a little bit. And
see if he comes back with a slider here. That's his best pitch, according to Adrian Dinkle, BYU's pitching coach. 1-2. Strike 3.
Well, it was a high, hard one there. It was a 94-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside part of the plate. A little bit out of the strike zone. And Ketschke goes after it and can't catch up to it.
Brady block comes to the plate with Hamlin over at first. One down here in the 6th. Swing and a miss, strike 1.
Yeah, the scoreboard shows 1 down, but Wolfgram made that great catch out there in center field. So
we'll call it 2 down.
We'll call it 2.
And now the scoreboard fixes it here in the stadium. Goff with the throw down. Hamlin is in safe on the steal. 1-1 to count to block.
Well, for Mason Hamlin, now he's 10 for 11 on the season. The stolen base got a big jump right there. Perfect throw down, but the ball can't be handled, and slides in safely.
Now an RBI opportunity for Block. 2-1.
Well, it seems like Utah Valley gets runners in scoring position every inning. Last inning they had the bases loaded and could not get the key hit. Here they got a runner on second with 2 outs, and they're looking for a key hit.
There's a strike, 2-2. In high, the count goes full.
Again, boy, Sterner's really cranking it tonight. That was 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He's really bringing it.
Full count with 2 outs. Strike 3. Hamlin gets on board, but he stays there. Bottom of the 6th coming up. And Sterner sits the Wolverines down. It's 11-3 BYU. Ryder Robinson will lead it off after this. The Big 12 baseball tournament starts a week from today in Surprise, Arizona. Here's what it would look like if we were there already. Texas Tech and Baylor would meet in game 1. The winner would face BYU in the second round. The winner of that one would face top seed Kansas in the quarterfinals. A lot can change between now and Saturday, including a lot with BYU and Kansas, and you'll see that entire series right here starting Thursday night. Ryder Robinson to lead it off for BYU here in the 6th. Dusk here in Provo gives so many phenomenal sights, and you just saw one as we came back from break. 1-1 for Robinson. Popped him up and out of play. And the count's 1-2.
Here we are at 8:30 at night, and it's 86 degrees. Here
It's like
Provo.
July.
Ooh. Wow. Beautiful.
We haven't had this kind of weather yet. We've got it here. It's going to cool down just a little bit for the weekend, but by the roaster on Tuesday. Strike 3 as Rice sits down on Robinson.
Well, you look at the flag out there in center field, and it is perfectly still. There is not a breeze tonight. And this pitch right here is a fastball, and a tailing fastball on the outside part of the plate, 92 miles an hour. Really good pitch by Aaron Rice to get the hot-hitting Ryder Robinson. Look at the flag out there. No breeze, Dave.
Nothing. You gotta get one out. You gotta pound it out yourself. Jones pops out and into the glove of Joseph Barnhart, and that was a quick at bat for Jones. There's 2 down. That'll bring up McChesney. McChesney struck out on 3 pitches his last time up. has a fly out, and then he got hit by a pitch in his first at bat. That's Bryson Campbell, the pitching coach. I'm going to read his lips here, Gary. If he throws it down the middle, hit it.
Yeah, he's saying a little bit more than that.
I said pitching coach is the batting coach. My correction.
Well, you got the name right, and it's more than 3 words out there. It's a
lot of words.
Yeah, it's a good conversation, you know. The umpire says, "Hey, you know, let's get going here.
Are we doing this? Yeah. We're going to do this. Let's go." Here's McChesney. Look inside the Wolverine dugout inside at 95 miles an hour. That moves Crew out of there. Ball 1. Some good work so far from Rice. McChesney into the gap. And he will take the turn and pick up his 15th double on the year. That's the most on the team.
Well, and you see that Crew just kind of cruising. Crew was cruising because of his hamstring. He doesn't want to pull it again. But watch as he comes around first base here. He sees it goes all the way to the wall. So normally you're thinking triple on this ball. But Carpenter, by the time he comes up to it, he just cruises into second.
Wolfgram with an RBI double his last time up. He returns to the plate with McChesney at second base.
So is that what hitting coach Bryson Campbell told Crew there? Just hit it in the gap?
Yeah, if it comes down the middle, just hit it. Wolfgram looks at a strike. Tua now with 9 doubles on the year. Outside. We saw Campbell there, and he's probably saying, yeah, well, McChesney took my advice. Now let's see about Wolfgram.
Yeah.
I told him the same things.
Well, he did it from the previous inning. He had 2 strikes on him, got a base hit. Line drive over the shortstop.
Here's another hit into left. And McChesney will come home. Another RBI for Wolfgram. And it's 12-3 for BYU.
Well, some good 2-out hitting there by the Cougars. This ball goes right between third baseman and shortstop. And by the time Houston comes up with it, no chance to get McChesney. He's already on third.
Matt Hansen steps in. Now, Matt Hansen was not part of that meet and greet with Campbell and McChesney and Wolfgram, so he's on his own up here.
Yeah, maybe he should have joined that meeting. It sure worked for those 2 guys.
Let's see what he comes up with here. A couple of singles and a walk tonight for Hansen.
And just missed a grand slam. We'll always go back to that one because that was as close as you can be. It was hit so far out of the field that it was hard to tell whether it hooked over the flagpole or to the right or to the left, and it was called a foul ball. Then he comes back and hits a little bloop single to drive in 2.
Ball 2. $12 runs, 12 hits for BYU. 3 runs on 7 hits for Utah Valley. 2-0. Big cut, the foul tip.
You watch these umpires doing this game. You get these home plate umpires. Most of them have been former baseball players. You watch them when they throw the ball out to the pitcher, and that was from home plate Jeff Clough. Nice little step and throw, good form. Obviously a very good baseball player in his time.
Inside, 3-1. This is the right time of year to get a hot bat. 3-1 for Hansen. Ball 4. And Wolfgram will trot to second. Hanson moves on down to first. And there'll be 2 on with 2 out for Parker Goff. And out of the dugout comes Nate Rasmussen. That may be it for Aaron Rice. The entire infield huddles up on the hill. Rasmussen, second year. Made all that noise last year in the NCAA tournament. Got a good recruiting class coming in, a new conference coming in, and eager to bounce back and stay healthy next year in the Big West.
Well, coach is going to give him one more batter here, see what he can do with 2 outs.
It'll be Goff, and then the top of the order for BYU. Here's Bryker Herdsman. Goff has a double so far tonight with a ground out and a strikeout.
Now the ball.
Comes in with some high heat at 93 for ball 1. Right under the glove of Rowan. Wolfgram is coming home. Here's the throw, and he's safe. Hanson stays at second. Goff is over at first base.
Well, what hustle that time by Wolfgram. That ball didn't get too far past Rowan there. He knocks it down, and now you see Chipper Bett running down, gets it in a hurry. Wolfgram's just on third. Good slide, and just beats it again.
Now Herdsman will come to the plate, and you see Wolfgram in safely.
That's a couple close plays at the plate, and BYU has had some great slides in there to beat the throws.
A 2-hit night for Parker Goff. Now Herdsman fouls it into the screen. Bryker singled his last time up. (13 and 13). 13 runs on 13 hits. Herdsman to center field. Carpenter moves over and makes the catch. Cougars leave 2, but they score 2. And they lead it by 10 as we move to the 7th inning here on ESPN.
The power of we is all for one. It's all for you. It's always there for you. It completes your circle. It says you've got a team even when you're out there alone. And with Intermountain Health in your circle, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
I did some soul searching.
I started praying. I said, whatever you're doing, just don't take this one.
Challenges come with pain.
There's no other story like it.
But pain will not win.
Your Jayhawks are national champions!
Pursue the dream.
Don't let anything stop you.
If I can make it this far, you can make it even further.
No matter what I do, all the glory go to God.
It's given me a great sense of purpose.
This is my life's work.
Dave McCann, Gary Scheide, sundown in Provo, Utah. BYU leads Utah Valley 13-3. as we fire up the 7th inning here at Miller Park. Tyler Ball is the new pitcher for the Cougars. 6'1" freshman out of Highland, Utah, pitched at Sky Ridge High School. Fastball up near 93. A curve, a slider, a cutter, and a change. And he'll face Caden Carpenter right out of the gate. So come out of the bullpen and face one of the hottest bats on the opposing side. And that's Carpenter, who already has a home run tonight. Kansas not playing a midweek game this week, so they'll come into Provo fully rested and ready to play on Thursday. First pitch at 6 o'clock local time, 8 Eastern, here on ESPN. We look forward to that series. Jayhawks are ranked 14th in the country. There's Wolfgram out in center, made a phenomenal catch a little while ago. Now look inside the BYU dugout as Caden Carpenter gets ready to hit. And we understand there is a 10-run rule in effect. And so it will be on Utah Valley to score in this inning to keep things going. That's what we understand. First pitch swinging is Carpenter and hits it foul. Now, we've been wrong before, but that's what we understand.
Well, we know if it's in the Big 12 conference, it is effect Big 12 against Big 12. But when it's non-conference like this, we are not sure. But we've been told one thing, and we're just not sure.
Strike one. Here's a blooper foul down the line. And so, yeah, it's confirmed that the Wolverines are going to need to score in this inning to continue the night. 0-2. Carpenter's capable of doing it all by himself with 14 home runs on the year, one of them earlier this evening.
Yeah, number 3, 4, and 5 hitters for Utah Valley.
Ball sits him down. Strike one. Strike out. Strike 3. There's one down.
All 3 of those. Yeah,
well,
that was a heck of a pitch on the inside part of the plate there. By Ball, 93 miles an hour.
Well, you can see he's not too happy about it, but that brings Chipper back to the plate. Strike one. Beck started his collegiate career at Salt Lake Community College and then here for 40 games at BYU, over to Utah Valley, and back for one last hurrah here tonight.
Tyler Beck is the 6th pitcher today for BYU. Tyler Ball.
1-1 to count.
So 6 pitchers in 7 innings.
It's about right for a Tuesday game. Check it down the line. Didn't go. It's 2-1. Utah Valley has thrown 4 so far. Strike 2. That at 93.
Yeah, Tyler Ball is really bringing it tonight.
Takes something off that one. Misses outside, and the count goes full.
That was an 88-mile-an-hour curveball there. Just missed the outside part.
Beck stays alive. 2 good defensive shortstops on display tonight with Chipper Beck and Ryder Robinson.
Yeah, we saw Beck turn a nice double play, and Ryder Robinson's double play was unbelievable.
This one gets past Goff. He's going to have to throw him out, and does so. 2 down.
Well, that went all the way to the back of the backstop and then got a lucky bounce back to him. So it was a swing and miss. But watch how far this comes back for Goff to make this play.
Good stretch by McNaughton. Now Trent Pratt's coming out. And he's going to make one more pitching change.
Yeah. Tyler, he's just not pitching well enough. You know, he's got to the first 2 outs here. So
you might be going, hey, you know what, your pitch is so good. I mean, I need you for later in the week.
Yeah, I need 7 pitchers in 7 innings. So I got to make this change right here.
Well, an opportunity for some guys to pitch before the season ends who are not likely to throw in the final series against Kansas or the postseason. Back with more in a moment here in Provo. Here's a look at the game summary. Dominated by BYU, including a 7-run 4th inning. Ezra McNaughton with a home run and 3 runs batted in. Ketchke's got a home run, his 22nd on the season for Utah Valley. 13 runs on 13 hits for BYU. No errors in the field. 3 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for Utah Valley. Bryant Ball is the new pitcher, a junior out of Highland, Utah, the older brother of Tyler, who he replaces. Fastball up around 87, slider, cutter, and a change. So it's a family affair for the Balls here against Utah Valley tonight.
Yeah, just Tyler comes in, the younger brother, and gets 2 quick outs. And he's kind of surprised he's getting pulled, but when his brother's coming in, he's thinking, all right.
You can't complain about that.
Can't complain about that.
You got to deal with mom and dad if you put up with a fuss.
My older brother's going to get me anyway if I complain to him.
Good confidence builder for Tyler with 2 batters and 2 retired. 2 down here in the top of the 7th. And Mason Strong is at the plate. One pitch into center field, and Strong has a 2-out single. First hit of the night for the senior out of Santa Clara, Utah. Snow Canyon product, just like Luke Anderson for BYU.
There'll be a pinch runner coming in.
Correa, the pinch runner. And Houston looking for his first hit tonight after a big Sunday of a home run and a couple of doubles. Outside for ball 1. Fouled away, 1-1. Cougars looking to go to 26-25. And Utah Valley 16-25. One and one.
Well, Derek was a great athlete at Kanab High School. He was the male athlete of the year in 2021. Earned first team All-State in basketball, football his senior year. So the three-sport star.
Ball 3-1. Missionary in Liberia. What an adventure that must have been. Fouls it out of play, and the count goes full. Just a sophomore, we'll see plenty of Houston over the next 2 years when these two teams reunite. 3-2 pitch. Runner goes. Strike 3. And BYU wins it 13-3. And a nice pick-me-up ahead of the Big 12 regular season finale starting Thursday against Kansas.
Well, you know, you go back to that fourth inning when BYU put a 7 on the scoreboard, and that put them up 11-2, and that was pretty much the game right there. There's the last pitch. Beautiful fastball, low part of the plate. And it's one of those things, Utah Valley, they're going to be back. They got a great coach. They've got some good recruits. And we look forward to seeing them next year, and wish them the best.
Lost 10 starters, including their starting rotation. That's a tough way to go. The defending WAC champions, and their season will end this weekend when the series with UT Arlington comes to a close in Orem. For BYU, they got bigger things ahead. Kansas Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And next week, the Big 12 tournament in Surprise, Arizona. And we are going to visit with Ezra McNaughton here shortly. Get his thoughts on the big weekend ahead, as the Cougars now above 500 overall and 13-14 in the Big 12. And we're watching McNaughton put on the headset. Ezra, you got us?
Yep, I got you.
Congratulations. First of all, how about that home run off the scoreboard early in the game to set the tone? Was that just the pitch you were looking for?
Yeah, I was sitting on fastball there. The first two were off the plate, and then got the next one up in the zone. So,
well, we're looking at that play here, Ezra, and they had 4 outfielders against you, and their second base was a rover. We saw you fake a bunt the first time, and then all of a sudden he said, "The heck with the shift. The heck with that. I'm just going to knock it out of the ballpark. They can't catch that." And that was a crush.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the whole. Everybody was over on the right side, so I was going to try to bunt, but then my head coach told me to swing, so I just swung.
Now, Ezra, you're a humble guy by nature, and you lead in almost every offensive category, although McChesney pulled ahead of you in doubles tonight, just to make a note there. But what are you seeing at the plate? Are they softballs coming in, or are you just in the zone?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have a pretty simple approach, just looking for a fastball, like middle in the zone, try to put a good swing on it, and seeing the ball well right now. So it's been going well.
Your dad hit home runs here, your uncle hit home runs here, and now it's your turn to hit home runs here, and you got 15 so far this season.
Got to try to catch them. They're still ahead of me.
Your Uncle Sean was the best player that I've ever seen here at BYU. I love that guy. He had the best swing I've ever seen. Well, you tell him hi from me and tell him that's how I feel about him.
I'll tell him that. You can get him up in the press box next game if you want.
That'd be great.
Ezra, you got Kansas coming in Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. They're a top 14 team in the country. They're in first place. You're battling for seeding for the Big 12 tournament. What do you anticipate in this series coming up?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough series. We just got to go out there and play what we've been doing the whole season. We've been playing well, keeping it simple, and I think we can definitely shock some people because good team coming in, but we're good as well.
We'll see you Thursday night.
All right, see ya. Thank you,
Ezra
guys.
McNaughton, BYU's big hitter, a 2-run home run off the scoreboard tonight. That was in the first inning, a 4-run first inning, and it set the tone for a 10-run victory, 13-3. For Gary Scheide and our crew, I'm Dave McCann. So long from Provo. Hot night. We started at 94 degrees. The BYU Bats were hot as well. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. It's BYU in Kansas. A lot on the line starting Thursday night at 8 Eastern. We'll see you then.